Hey crafty friends, it's me, Justine Dvorak, over here on Stationery by Justine, where when I craft my world stands still. Today I'm going to play with a small but mighty collection called the Love on the Rocks collection. So I have a BetterPress plate called My Heart Beats for You. It has a heart on it, which is definitely unique for a BetterPress plate. It is a little more realistic than just like a simple heart. Here it is glimmered. Kind of fun. And then in the center you can put two sentiments, well, anything that will fit in that heart, I suppose, but the sentiments are my love grows and sending love. And then you can die cut out the sentiment and pop it in the center if you wish. Then there is a little cocktail glass, or I'm not sure, maybe like sipping glass. I'm not sure what you would call this specifically. And then there is some things to go in the glass. This would work very well with all of the other, like the Cheers to You collections that Spellbinders put out earlier this year. And then there is some sentiments that are BetterPress sentiments. So again, you can glimmer the BetterPress sentiments and you can BetterPress them with ink. So lots of options there. And then they have coordinating dies. So you can glimmer or press once, and then you can cut once and have 5 sentiments all in one. So I always love when there is coordinating dies. So that's fabulous. I'm going to make 2 cards with, did you catch the voice crack? Yikes. I'm going to make 2 cards with the glass, and then we're going to play with the BetterPress. I don't have too much of a plan. I have played with it a little bit. You can see here, look at that glimmer. So shiny. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I am going to pull in this BetterPress plate called Sprinkled Confetti. It kind of looks like snow, but I used 2 different glimmer colors for my background here on my first card. And I used red and gold, and I did 2 layers of glimmer. Did you know you can glimmer on top of glimmer? You can do it. I'm telling you, it doesn't wipe off. It is on there. It is so cool. And all I did to get this was I glimmered it once, and then the second time I glimmered it with the gold, I just moved the plate over like 1/4 of an inch. Nothing too much. So you can actually see that there's a pattern here in the foil. For example, let's see. Where can I show you? See, these 2 dots right here are the same 2 dots right here. And like these 2 dots here are the same 2 here. So I just shifted it a teeny tiny bit and I got a really full, shiny background. And to me, it kind of looks like bubbles or maybe some funky Art Deco wallpaper. I really like the look of it. So I was pleased with that. You can always shop your stash. Get something new and bring in something old, and make some beautiful things. So let's dive into the cards. Popping on real quick before I dive into things. As I was prepping for my first card here, I am seeing that my glass is getting completely lost in my background that I was so very excited for. So I think we're going to switch things up with this first card, but I will not waste this. Oh no, this will be on something else in the future, but you can still see how cute it is. All right, so as the title promised, I told you that I would talk to you about picking the right color combinations. So let's get into this. I do have a few tips and tricks that I have written down that I'm going to share as I finish up my 2 cards here. So if you have any questions about any of the process that I'm doing, just drop a question in the comments and I would love to help. But I'm just going to talk as I go here. First, when you are working with color, you always want to have the color wheel close by. If you don't have a color wheel in your craft room, just Google color wheel, print one that you think looks good. I mean, it just happens to be like, it just needs to be like the color wheel. And make sure it's clear enough and print it in full color so you can reference that, because you're going to want to use colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel. So on this card, I chose red and green. They are opposite from each other on the color wheel. Another example would be blue and orange. It kind of makes a vibrant contrast between the elements, and it can really make your projects pop. And if you don't want to do complementary colors, you can do analogous colors. So these are colors that sit next to each other on the color wheel. So like blue and green or red and orange, colors that kind of blend. So you can get that ombre look, and it kind of makes a little bit of a cohesive look for blending. And then you can also use the tridactic. I think I said that correctly. Colors. These are colors that are spaced evenly throughout the color wheel. So that would be like the red, yellow, and blue, or purple, green, and orange. I think I just got a package delivered. That scared me. Oh my goodness. Anyway, hopefully it's Happy Mail for crafting. Anyway, like I was saying, these are colors that are spaced evenly on the color wheel. So red, yellow, blue, orange, purple, green. Those are a so like the triangle. And you can play with those and have it be kind of balanced and dynamic without being overwhelming. You don't want to make it too crazy unless it's a full-on crazy card, which I've made those before, and those are fun too. So my second tip is to consider the mood or the theme of the card. So this one is kind of like a lovey-dovey romantic kind of card with the glass and the chocolate covered strawberries and my sentiment. My next one is going to be a little more like peaceful charming, I guess. But if your vibe, if you will, is calm and peaceful, you're going to want to use soft tones like blue and green. If you're going for a festive, kind of like a holiday card for like Halloween or Christmas or 4th of July, if you're American, you're going to want to make things bright. So you're going to want to use contrasting colors like red and orange with blue. You just want to make them nice and bright. And if you're going for an elegant look, you can use like those deep, rich tones like navy, gold, burgundy, all those colors that really belong on like a velvet couch when you can take one of these glasses that I'm holding in your hand and sip away. Anyway, when you're working with colors, you really want to stick to about 3 to 5 colors. It's kind of a good rule of thumb. So you want to kind of limit the amount of colors you have. I'm not going to limit you though, so if you're hearing this and feeling like weird about that, I'm never going to limit anybody. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but it kind of can overwhelm the eye when you have more than 5 colors going on. And then my fourth tip is to use neutral colors as like a balancer. So on this card, I'm using black and white and gold as my balancer. I have gold on the glass, I have gold in the sentiment, I have black as the little pick for the strawberry, I have black as the grounding, if you will, or the base for my cup, and that just kind of ties it all together. You can use it for backgrounds, text, small elements, whatnot. It just kind of helps balance out the card in general. And then my fifth tip is to test and adjust your contrast. So if you are having a card in your mind and you're planning it out and it does not quite look right, you can always pivot and move along, just like I did with my sparkly circles with the confetti dots. I love that panel, but it just wasn't looking good with the cup after I really looked at it. I didn't want that cup to get lost. So instead of it getting lost, I used gold, which is a yellow tone, which is right next to green on the color wheel. So that green and gold go well together. And then the pops of the red with the green contrast. So that ended up looking better than my original background. So you can always test things out. It kind of is fun to have it dark text on a light background or a light text on a darker background. I know a lot of times in the card world, people do a colored cardstock with a white stamped sentiment on it, and that looks so good. anytime that I am kind of stuck or not quite sure about colors and sentiments, I always go for a colored cardstock with a white sentiment. Of course, this gold is just stunning on the sentiment, but white and dark, anytime that light and dark are contrasting, it looks really good. Another thing that you want to consider, so this is tip 6, is consider the occasion. Is it a birthday card? You're going to want to make it bright. If it's a wedding card, you're going to want to maybe choose elegant colors, or if you know the color of the person's wedding that you're attending, perhaps kind of customize it. Same with that birthday card. If you have a birthday that you need a card for and they love orange, make an orange card. That's the beauty about card making, in my opinion, is making all of the custom really special cards. Those are the ones that I treasure, and I still get questions about, when you give someone a card and they, maybe they don't save it, and that's fine. I used to struggle with that, but if they have a handmade card and they don't save it, that's them. That's not on you. You made it with love, and that's okay. That's what matters. Okay, back on topic. For a sympathy card, you might want to choose muted tones like a soft blue or purple, just to convey kind of like a somber tone, or not too bright and cheerful. Okay, I have a couple more tips for you. I think I have 10 altogether. Yes. So another one you can do is take inspiration from nature. I know this sounds a little woo-woo, but take inspiration from the actual thing. So sometimes in nature, there are some beautiful color combinations that are naturally pleasing to the eye. So you can kind of think about a sunset. Those sunsets are objectively gorgeous, in my opinion. Objectively, in my opinion. But I don't think of anyone I've ever heard say that sunset's ugly, But in the colors of a sunset, there's orange, pink, purple, or the shades of a forest, green, brown, earthy, or beachy tones. It all just kind of coordinates as like it's natural, And you can experiment with color theory tools. That is my number 8 tool. So you can look online for different color combinations. I know I have the color cube that is really popular for crafting. So you can gain inspiration from things like that. I'm going to just stop with my little tips here for just a minute and talk about my ink blending here because I feel like I need to explain what I am doing. I glimmered this background in Glimmer Specialty cardstock, which is super smooth, and I just really wanted a soft blend. So at the top, it's going to stay white, and then as I go down, I'm taking the Salvage Patina color, which is an oxide, and just lightly putting it on. And I'm taking a rag and just gently tapping it so it is, not going to smear. My brushes made smear marks, so my rag helped that not be so smudgy. A quick little side note about Glimmer Specialty cardstock and ink blending or using distress oxides. It will need a little bit extra time to dry. That surface is so incredibly smooth, and it just takes some time for it to really set. So if you're recreating this card, I would just like to remind you to let it dry. All right, back to my tips. Tip number 9 is to test with swatches. So it's kind of like tip number 8, experimenting with your color theory tools, but use different materials and really test them out. So it doesn't, this happens often to me. I'll pick out a color, either like a colored pencil or a Copic, and I think it's one color and I start coloring and it's not the same color. So test them out before you kind of commit to it with your project. But test out little swatches of your color combinations, and we all have scraps out there, so just grab a couple scraps and just kind of give it a little squiggle and see how it looks. And if you like it, great. If not, switch it up. Now, my 10th tip is again a little woo-woo, if you will, but be mindful of color psychology. And now you might have heard like, oh, if you have a red kitchen, you're going to eat more. Or if you have a bright living room, it's not going to let you sleep as good, or whatever that might be. But certain colors do evoke certain emotions in people. It's just how our brains are. So like blue is a calm and trustworthy color. Red is kind of exciting or passionate. Yellow is kind of cheerful or optimistic. So think about the message that you want your card to kind of convey and go from there. So with that being said, my card here with the purple and teal, pink and teal. I love pink and teal together. To me, they look so cute together. These pinks are kind of they're kind of like a purple. They're more on the purple side than they are red. And purple comes from blue and teal comes from blue. So I think that's why they look so good to my brain. At least they do in my head, that purple and teal, purple, teal, and pink and green and blue all kind of, they're kind of friends, if that makes sense. So they definitely look cute together. But this one with the teal on the bottom is just kind of like a nod to there being something for my cup to rest on, as kind of different than my first card, which I did give some kind of a surface there with that black cardstock for my card to rest on. But basically, that is all the tips I have for you today. Just a little side note about what I used inside this glass was some cardstock that I had from Hobby Lobby. That's watercolor cardstock. And then on my first card, I just had brown paper that I did some ink blending with the brown. But that is everything I have for you. If you have any questions, I would love for you to ask them in the comments. And while you're there, I would love for you to tell me your favorite card of the two as I finish the embellishments on this one. I think my favorite of the two is this pink and teal. The colors really make me feel happy when I look at them, but I love the drama of the first card. So you let me know which one is your favorite, and I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end. If you have watched with me all the way to the end and found a tip helpful, thank you, and maybe drop a like and subscribe before you head out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.